What's good, everybody? Namaste, everyone. Today is probably the single biggest day of my life because I'm meeting one of my greatest idols, someone who's taught me a lot of what I preach online, what I talk about. Sadhguruji, thank you.
Namaskaram.
Just being in your presence is something very overwhelming for me. And just like Prajakta, you know, I'd prepared a lot of things to ask you, and I'm just kind of blown away right now. Basically, the channel I run is a self-improvement channel. And the end goal of self-improvement, according to me, is inner peace and happiness at the end of it. So my first question to you is, just to an average 18, 19-year-old who's figuring out his life, who's figuring out his career, if you were to tell him one piece of advice, just one thing, what would it be?
See, instead of trying to figure out life, you just have to enhance the profoundness of your experience. You can't figure it out. Whichever way you figure it, you'll figure it wrongly, because that is the beauty of the phenomena that we call as life. You cannot figure it. People who think they've figured it, well, they're going to be battered by life at some point. Yes, but you're life, aren't you?
Yes.
I'm asking.
I hope so, yes.
What do you mean you hope so?
I think I am. There is life
You
inside
think
me.
you are or are you life? Tell me.
I am.
Are you robotic or you life? That's all I'm asking
I am
you. You're life, isn't it? So how can you figure it? You can only experience it. You have to just find access to it. Finding access means on the surface, your own psychological chatter and the social stuff that is going on is making you believe that is a reality, but the real thing is you're alive. Rest are is accessories, yes? Everything is accessories. You're so lost in the accessories that you've forgotten what's the real thing. So, when you use the word life, probably you're talking about your career, you're talking about your family, you're talking about your relationship, your home, your car, your whatever. You're only talking about the accessories, you're not talking about life. For most people, this is a fact. So life essentially means that which is the basis of all this. This talk is not life, the basis of this talk is life. You just have to enhance that so that the front end of your life is that dimension, not your physiology, not your psychology, not your social stuff. All those things are there in our lives, in everybody's life. But the front end of all this must be the leading edge, must be the life within. If the leading edge is a social stuff, just anybody can decide what happens within you. They can drive you crazy if they want, and they will. Once you give them that handle, they will, knowingly or unknowingly, somebody is going to yank the handle.
So one question that we get a lot online, a lot of influencers get this thing about how do you deal with hate? So as someone who's a social media influencer, you know, you're up on a platform and a lot of people have their opinions on you. But I feel the realistic question to answer here is something related to cyberbullying. Like I feel when people are behind a keyboard, you spoke about people yanking at your life. So when people…
Not my life.
I mean, at once.
They're trying, always.
So, what advice do you have for, say, a teenager who's encountering any form of cyberbullying, or an influencer like Prajakta or myself who's, you know, facing all this kind
Switch
of…
off the gadget. See, you can give it whatever name you want. Essentially, people are saying what they know best. Some people know only abuse. It's like if you open a trash can, it can only smell like that. So some people are made like this, if they open their mouth, only abuse will come out.
Okay.
So it's all right, it's their plight, it's their fate that they're in that condition, unfortunately. If you open a flower basket, fragrance will come. Trash can,
Is there any way to turn the garbage can into like a flower basket?
yes, garbage has to mature into manure. If it becomes good manure, flowers will come, fruit will come, isn't it?
And what do you suggest is the process to make it good manure?
If it happens quickly, it'll be nice because it's a brief life. But some people take a lifetime to mature.
The other question I really had to ask you is, on the internet, one of the hot search terms is something called the law of attraction. So I would just love to know what you think of the law of attraction, because the way I understand it is, I feel like there's a process of praying and asking for something and then working towards it. And for me, just meeting you is a form of like law of attraction, because it's something I've asked for probably since my own channel started. I've like always wanted to meet you and just have a conversation with you, some kind of interview with you. Now that I'm here with you, I don't know what to say, but it's great. It's a great feeling.
What is this law of attraction?
So people think that if you keep asking for something in your head, if you keep thinking about it, even if you're meditating, if you keep visualizing it, then one day maybe the
That's the dumbest thing people can do in their life. Because the most important thing in one's life is to create intensity without intent. The biggest problem today in the world is we have taken to Western ways of life that we've all become goal-oriented. We want to get there. See, right now if you set a goal in your life, let's say from where you are, if you set a goal, how will you arrive at a goal? It's just an exaggeration of what you already know, isn't it? Can you set a goal about something that you do not know? So that means, in your entire life, only what you know will happen, nothing new will happen to you. What a terrible life is that? So the moment you start setting a goal for yourself, you are fixing yourself to a mediocre life. The important thing is to raise this life to the highest possible intensity. Life should unfold, your genius should unfold. Then, depending on the times, we will do what we have to do in the world.
So you're running this campaign called Youth and Truth, which I think is one of the most beautiful things to happen to India. And I've been reading a lot about how you're promoting Indian textiles as well. That's one other aspect we talk about on the channel.
What are you wearing? Huh?
I believe it's some kind of silk.
Not bad.
Yeah, so again, I'm a men's fashion influencer. Like I teach men how to dress.
Recently, I was in a women's college in Bangalore, Mount Carmel, and they tell me, when they're asking a question, "You're a fashion icon." I said, "Wow, that's a new one for me." I didn't know I'm a fashion icon.
Yeah. So my mother selected my outfit and she's like, "You're meeting Sadhguruji, you better dress well. Have you seen how he dresses?" So I mean, this fashion icon idea is spread across India. But is there anything you'd want influencers like myself to talk about in the public domain so we can bring back this Indian textile tradition?
See, there are over 120 distinct type of weaves in this country, which is extraordinary. No other culture has ever produced that many. Every region has its own specific way of weaving, dyeing and producing a cloth. So because of this, if you look back on the history of this country, 60% of the world's exports was Indian textile at one time, which the English destroyed completely. In a matter of 60 to 70 years, systematically they destroyed the whole thing. That's one reason today's farmer suicide is connected with that, because all the weavers fell back to farming because they had no other livelihood. Small farmers, they started scratching some land somewhere to make a living because they systematically destroyed the textile industry. But a time has come, we have to put this back, because one thing is, it is estimated by 2025, 98% of the world's fiber will be synthetic, out of which 95% will be polyfiber. Textile is the second largest polluter on the planet. First is oil industry, second is textiles. Polyfiber has gotten into your body, polyfiber has gotten into the soil, polyfiber has gotten into the water, polyfiber has gotten into the food chain. It is into everything. It's the second largest polluter on the planet, but it is a quiet polluter, nobody knows it's doing it, what it is doing to you. In terms of health and in terms of ecology, we can make a huge difference by going back to natural fiber. So as a part of, this is 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, I am on the committee, formed by the central government. We are seeing how to create market for natural fiber. If you bring back natural fiber into, like as it was in the past, cotton, jute, linen, nettle, all these things if you bring back, if 30% of India's farming go into natural fiber, all this farmer suicide will stop, 100%, I'm telling you. It's because they are growing only food which is perishable. This is the reason why this is happening. So, as a part of this, we are seeing how to create the market, and above all for health and for ecological reasons it's important. As a part of this, we are recommending at least the government schools, all the uniforms should become natural fiber. If this one thing happens, there's a huge market. After that, the fashion industry is there. So, you must tell all your young people that at least one day in a week, they must wear only natural fiber.
We'll do that.
Just get that commitment from all the young people, because if you don't create the market, these arts and crafts will not survive. It's not for the sake of promoting something, it is for your own health and for ecological reasons. We must go back to natural fiber, there's no other way.
That's a beautiful message. So I'm just gonna end the interview now, but I hope the viewers enjoyed the best 20-30 minutes of my life. So, seriously, thank you Sadhguruji. It's an honor just being in your presence.